Good morning, Facebook, or wherever you are. If you're not in Australia, it's probably not morning where you are. I'd actually love to know where you are, so drop it below. I'm also going to share this in the group. This is a very important topic, and it's one that not many people are having around the world. I can tell you that because the world seems to be getting increasingly divided. What is happening on the planet? I'm laughing because if I'm not laughing, I would be crying, which I have also done. We are seeing essentially a cyber war, but really it's a spiritual war. What is happening is a spiritual war of light versus dark, and you, as the conscious creator of your reality, have a duty to show up and devote yourself to choosing the light and choosing unity. And I just want to refer quickly back to the takeaway from the Global Unity Summit that we hosted during the US election, the weekend of the US election. And yes, there was censorship that happened on that summit. Of course there was. The intention of the summit was essentially to bring a unified message by hearing all perspectives, left, right, red, blue, this way, that way. We had all different human beings, 35 speakers over the 3 days that had vastly different perspectives, but there was one takeaway, which is unity is not about silencing those who think differently to us. Unity is not about thinking the same. Unity is the capacity to be with difference. Be with difference. I just want to repeat that. Unity is the capacity to be with difference and recognize that irrespective of our belief systems, irrespective of what we think about the world, the program, and that's exactly what it is. It's a program that has probably been programmed into you by brainwashing, whether that be through parents, teachers, media, big tech, the echo chamber that exists. Yeah, the echo chamber that exists inside every single piece of technology that you are utilizing, which is programming you, is not who we are. And it doesn't even get close to a description or a representation of the divinity that is you. And this is the important conversation that we need to be having right now, that you are divinity and you are unified, even with those that you consider an enemy. Now, if you think that is an important message, I want you to share this video now. Share this video now, because more people need to be involved in this conversation. And I deeply encourage you to get involved in the comments. I want to know what unity means to you. I want to know how you're feeling. This is what I really want to know. How are you feeling with everything that is happening in the world right now? And this is a safe space. My page is a safe space for as long as Facebook lets me talk. This is a safe space for you to share how you feel. And there's a few topics that I really want to dive into, specifically around how belief systems actually drive this hatred. I quoted this on the live. I recognize that the live I did the other day was it was a bit compromised because my phone is actually overheating. I live in Australia. It's a beautiful, beautiful country. I feel very blessed every single day to experience this gorgeous ocean. But it's also about 40 degrees in the summer, so my phone is overheating and it was cutting in and out. But I was talking about the beginnings of this topic, and it was interesting because a few of you actually wrote to me and said thank you for that live, and I know this is a message. You know, sometimes I get so passionate, tell me if you guys can relate, I get so passionate that I'm thinking about what I want to say to you guys, and there's so much in me that I want to express, and by the time I actually go to express, I don't even know where to start. That is pretty much how I've felt about what is happening in the world. And so your encouragement, understanding if you have questions specifically that you want me to answer through the lens of love, I really believe Esther Perel when she said, there's no such thing as an expert. There's just a such thing as someone that has thought about a topic for longer than others. 10 years I've been thinking about what it means to choose love. I do have a wisdom in this area because it's something that I'm obsessed with. It's something that I'm constantly thinking about. It is also something that I'm totally imperfect at. But I do have a lot of experience and practice, and it is something that I consistently devote myself to. So I want to begin by saying human beings neurologically are wired to validate themselves. This is called a confirmation bias. And we are surrounded by confirmation biases, but the difficult part of this is the belief systems that you are carrying in your neurology are most likely not yours. Because tech companies have a way, a very intelligent way, of incepting ideas, belief systems into your brain, usually beliefs around, I'm not enough, the world is not a safe place, I need to consume in order to be lovable. I'm going to align myself to a brand because Coca-Cola is going to make me happy. Tommy Hilfiger is going to mean that I own a yacht and I get to travel the Amalfi Coast in the summertime in Europe. This is the programming that all of us have been subject to, yeah? Now, once that belief system is running as a program, what happens is within technology and also in the rest of the world, we start to surround ourselves with people that confirm that belief system, because your brain is an evidence-building machine. Your brain is an evidence-building machine, meaning that if I have a belief like I'm not good enough, your brain is like, okay, that's what we believe. I'm going to go out today and I'm going to seek a bunch of evidence that validates that belief system. So even though there is a whole trajectory, a 360-degree periphery of information and feedback that you could be ingesting in your mind, you are only seeing, you are only focused on that which is going to confirm your bias. Have a think about that. And have a think about how dangerous that wiring is in the context of big tech, which is radically censoring anything that is not aligned to their single view. Where do we go to find information to expand our minds, especially for those that don't even realize that censorship is an issue? Especially for those of you that don't even realize or recognize that there is a narrative that is being controlled. And there's always been a narrative that's being controlled that is feeding a series of belief systems into your subconscious mind and confirming those belief systems over and over and over again. There was one of the talks at Global Unity Summit, and this was probably my biggest takeaway for the whole 3 days. And he said, there is no willpower strong enough to override the programming that we are experiencing in the context of the modern world. There is no willpower strong enough to override that. Now, I was always someone up until this point, it was a massive aha moment that was like, yeah, but I know, I'm aware this happens, so therefore I'm not subject to it. No. If you are a human being, you are subject to it because the program is literally designed to influence a human being. So if you are a human being, you are impressionable and vulnerable to this programming. Now, I'm not saying that I believe in left or right. I believe in a world where we can exist in unison and we don't hate each other for our worldviews. And this is the second thing I want to go into, and this is what I started talking about on the live yesterday. If you're liking this talk, if you think this is a message that more people need to hear, please share this video. Maybe it's going to get taken away. As soon as you start talking about censorship and all these things, Facebook starts to reduce it down. So whilst this is why I'm doing it on Zoom, by the way, because I want it to be recorded, please share this video. I'm doing it on my profile, so you can share this video. I also don't want to put Love Out Loud in any sort of jeopardy, so I hope you can appreciate that. The second thing I wanted to talk about and what this feeds into is how do we develop compassion when we have this program that is seeking this confirmation bias? Because to keep that confirmation bias in place, we have a program in our neurology called cognitive dissonance. And what cognitive dissonance does is essentially only gives us two choices when our belief system or our worldview is being challenged. The first is to reject the information that is in front of us that is challenging our belief system. 99% of people will opt for this option unconsciously because it's the easier and safer thing to do. So literally, if you had a belief like levitation is impossible and there was someone levitating in front of you, it is our human wiring to try and find a logical, rational justification to disprove the information which is devalidating your belief system. That's how we're wired, because we don't want to admit we're wrong, because being wrong means our worldview, our frame of the world, our frame of reality, our perception of everything starts to crumble underneath us. And the only thing, if you want to get really quantum, the only thing that is holding our perception together is our belief systems. Otherwise, we would literally be one with everything. We wouldn't be a human being. I wouldn't have an ego. I wouldn't have a self. Nicole wouldn't exist in relation to you or this chair or this table. I would just be the energy that is all things. So belief systems are very powerful, but also very dangerous when they start to be manipulated. So the second thing that can happen, and this is something that I encourage everyone in the Love Out Loud community to get better at and begin choosing, is to question the belief system that you are carrying and have an openness and an acceptance to the information that could be challenging your own confirmation bias. This is how we grow. Rather than seeing this as a failure or making it mean that you are wrong, what if we started to think about it as I'm a learner? I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm seeing a world beyond my existing frame of reality. This is where growth happens, because none of it's real anyway, actually. So keeping an open mind and being open to infinite possibilities, this is where the magic happens. This is where the magic happens. It's not about this or that. And I'm not saying, by the way, if there are haters on my Facebook that are saying that what I am saying is permission for people to talk hate speech or say things that violate human rights. No, we are allowed to challenge that, but we shouldn't, I don't believe, dehumanize those that are carrying such belief systems. What we got to do is look below. We have to look below and ask, why do these people believe these things? Because if they were truly in touch with their own humanity, their own soul, their own heart, if they actually had a connection to their heart, if they could feel their heart, they would understand that what they judge and project onto another person, they are doing to themselves. Every human being will reach a point in their evolution eventually where they recognize every time you point the trigger, there is 3 pointing back at you. If someone is not there yet, they need support, guidance, and most importantly, compassion. The example I used on my live 2 days ago was homophobia. Now, I've had a lot of people, especially gay people, bisexual people, people who are in the LGBT community, who have actually asked me, how do you have compassion for people that are homophobic? Because when I'm sitting with someone that's homophobic, that is a direct violation of my humanity. When I'm sitting with someone who fundamentally hates who I am just because I choose to love who I love, that is a violation of my humanity. And yet I find myself throughout my whole life sitting with people that have that hatred, and I feel compassion for them. Because I don't hate them for hating me. I get curious and I think, what belief systems are they running? Maybe there's religiosity. Maybe they have a fundamental belief system that God hates gay people. And I sit there and I wonder, what would it be like to live in a reality where I fundamentally believe that the divine creator of all things, the creator that created me, hates me? And all of a sudden, I feel compassion. Because I recognize that it would be a painful reality to live in a world where I believe the creator of me has a capacity to hate. In my world, in my frame, in my series of belief systems, the God I know loves all things. And in the presence of that creator dissolves any hatred, any resistance that I experience, because I have something to surrender myself over to, which is perfect, in my imperfection, in my incapacity to love the other side, in my incapacity to be a better person sometimes. I have a creator that I can surrender myself over to, and I know that I am welcomed with loving arms. The universal, unconditionally loving force that I experience as my version of divinity and God. The person that's hating me, they don't have that same relationship yet, consciously. And so I sit there and I have compassion. Because if I believed that my God hated gay people, I would probably hate gay people too. And this does not mean that they're less human. This does not mean that they're less divine. This does not say anything about their infinite potentiality or their unbounded, limitless amounts of love. This says something about a program that they are running that was probably absolutely bashed into them as a child, whether that be through their family, their religion, their school, the media, and they are running that program and they are seeking confirmation for that program just to keep themselves safe. And here's the thing, every human being is trying to keep themselves safe. How do we keep ourselves safe? Is we confirm our own bias, because then we don't need to look at ourselves. Because here's the thing, guys, the scariest fucking thing on the planet is to look at ourselves. To actually meet ourselves, because when we start looking at the aspects of our perception that are anything other than love, we begin a journey to true self-love, to truly knowing thyself. When we begin to know thyself, we recognize that we are infinite potential, and it is scary as hell to understand that we are that powerful, because then we have a responsibility. When we start to look at ourselves and we go on that journey to self-love, we actually have a responsibility in that place, in that space, to do more, to be more, to love more, to forgive more. And this is a reminder that I usually give everyone when I do keynote talks, which feels like forever, by the way, since I've done one. If you have forgiveness in your heart, give it. Do not be selfish, be generous with your spirit. If you have it, you are abundant. Generosity is an abundant state. It puts you in more and more abundance. So if you have forgiveness in your heart and you're holding grudges just because you think that is the right thing to do and you're being righteous about it, I encourage you, give that forgiveness. Willingly give that forgiveness. You will become a bigger, more abundant person by doing that. If you have love in your heart, give it generously, for no other reason, but it is a beautiful thing to do, to love, and it will mean that love is returned to you times 10. Love is the most untapped, infinite, powerful resource that we have access to that is so underutilized, especially right now. We have people killing each other in this world because of their political views. I've had people reach out to me and say, if you don't get rid of that person in the Love Out Loud community, then this is soon going to be called a movement that's called Hate Out Loud. And I sit there and I'm like, how do you believe that that is a loving perspective, that you are choosing love by wanting to exile people from our community? Become curious, ask people, why do you believe what you believe? Sit with them, understand their worldview. You will get to a place where you both understand and you develop compassion for their perspective. And both of you will learn and grow in that process. This is what it means to choose love, to not surround ourselves with people that just agree with us, to lean in, especially to those that disagree with us or who we disagree with, and find a place of commonality, because there is more of what makes us the same than what separates us. I promise you, my work continues to reinforce that. We are so much more than our political views. We are so much more than our belief systems. We are so much more than the things that we think divide us. And if I'm alive during this time, I will do anything within my power, anything within my conscious awareness to prevent the division that is currently taking place in the world. We're under threat right now. And when I say that, I love those who are threatening us, because think about how afraid they must be. Think about how afraid they must be to go to the extent to start censoring alternative perspectives. They're scared. They deserve compassion too. We don't need to agree with them. What we need to do in amongst this crazy global landscape is this: we need to be responsive. We need to find ways to gather and communicate and be intelligent about it, and not just rely on platforms that are single-minded. We, as human beings and a collective family, we need to find ways to continue to communicate with one another. And if you find yourself in chat rooms or threads that are threatening to your worldview, reach out and ask why. Extend your curiosity, extend your consideration and your care. If we can meet each other in our humanity and say, hey, there's a divinity in you, it's the same divinity that exists within me. The atoms that make me up are the same atoms that make you up. The God that created me is the God that created you. If we can meet in that place and stop being the judge, because we have no right to be the judge. You are only ever perceiving yourself, yeah? So whatever you hate, you are. Whatever you hate, you are. Let me say it again. Whatever you hate, you are. So when you meet someone that is a mirror of your own self-hatred, see it as an opportunity to love. See it as an opportunity to know yourself better, to know yourself deeper, to know yourself beyond the superficialities, beyond the belief systems, to know the essence that is you. We need a stronger sense of spirituality right now in the world, which is not about religion. It is about the essence of who we are, the essence of this life, love. Globalization, the way globalization is happening right now, needs to end. What needs to happen is the global awakening into unification, where we stop seeing what divides us. We see with eyes of love. For those of you that have been following the prophecy of awakening into the 5D, this is what the fifth dimensional awareness is. This is what fifth dimensional consciousness is the ability to see with eyes of love, to see that I am not separate from you. There are no sides. There are no sides. We're all just kids wanting to feel safe. Truly, it's what we are. And if you agree with this message, if you don't agree with this message, tell me why. Let's have a conversation. Let's meet in love. If you agree with this message, please share. I love you so much because you are me. Love Out Loud has created a Telegram just as a safe space, and also a Signal as a safe space to have that collation of our community away from other platforms. We also have a Mighty Networks where we've collated all of our content. It is a time where we need to start thinking about that. I would love to see you there. If you want the links, please just DM me. I will send you all of the links. I'd love to see you in all of those platforms. And yeah, I love you guys.